Okay, I started coating 2 days ago. This is day 3. Yesterday I fixed the intake, took the cowl apart, put a bunch of, did a bunch of cleaning to that, took the wiper blades out, and trying to think of what else we did. Anyway, got the car prepared to finish it up here. The windshield's going to be coming here at some point, so I left the wipers out. I figured since the Safelite guys are going to be taking it out anyway, rather than having them lean up against my corrected car, I'd take it out, get it all corrected, and then let them do the windshield. And then when the windshield goes in, then I'll put that back together. So make sure to check out that video. But the wrapping up today, I'll wrap up this video, show you some EXO V4. So this is technically the second coat. First and second coat look identical. And then also I'll do the windows. Obviously I'm not going to treat the windshield because they're going to put a new one on. But we'll do Wolfson, kind of knock out that whole process. I'm on to my 6th towel or 6th little suede applicator, so I had to go open up another pack. We sell them in packs of 5. Get some gloves. So let's check our EXO status. Yeah, so I tend to, so this bottle was maybe 3/4 filled. So you need I think you need a full bottle of EXO. You really don't need a full bottle of Crystal Serum Light, but depending on the size of your car, I think the safe bet is to buy 2 bottles of EXO and a single bottle of Crystal Serum Light, because then you can do the wheels, you can do all the trim, you can do basically everything with the car. And so I'm not even going to use a block with EXO. The other nice thing about this is that it has a little dropper that actually works pretty well. So I'll just get my little applicator set up. And that's all she wrote for this bottle. So I have to crack a new one open. EXO has a much stronger smell to it, but there you go. That's the amount that I put on to kind of prime it and get it ready to go. So the application of EXO is, I don't want to call it more aggressive, but I'm going to move a little bit less methodically and work the product in more. I learned this from my buddy Billy at Presidential. Especially if you're ever going to do Crystal Serum Ultra, you really have to work the product in. I was able to wipe the entire car down with 2 towels yesterday, so I should be able to do the same thing here today. And I'm going to do the entire hood, and then we'll come back and wipe it off. You'll even see there's a bit more of a rejecting of this. And I guess theoretically you could put as many coats of this as you want on it. But remember that when you're doing anything, waxing, coating, any kind of protection layer, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3. It's more like 1 + 1 equals 1.2. And then another +1 equals 1.28. You know what I'm saying? It's not as additive as you might think. And you can stretch it pretty far. I mean, I'm doing this entire section. And I couldn't even tell you why I'm doing 2 coats. It just seems like the right thing to do. More of 2 coats to me is more about hitting spots that I may have missed on coat number 1, which hopefully you don't, but you don't miss spots, but who knows. So here's my next bottle. Just do a little squiggly on there, add a little bit more, and just keep working through. This is pretty darn tedious, going through this process of installing your coating. But I don't think you want to rush it. You want to take your time, work through it, make sure you don't miss spots. Because the last thing you want to do is rush it, and then you did all this work, and you don't want to screw it up. and then have to go and repolish. in order to fix it. Another thing I should mention, I notice in a lot of videos as they come out, you know, I think we're 4 or 5 days ahead. So you are 4 or 5 days behind of where I'm at right now. But this car is not white, it's gray. So there is a noticeable, I mean, a really, really noticeable difference. All the work I've done to this thing on how much it gloss and shine, and man, it's just, the car is really transformed. You know, get the windshield in, get the interior dialed in. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the passenger door. If I'm going to chase back a bit, see if I can get the passenger door card. Called a couple of dealerships, no one has it. Apparently, like most American cars, there's no ordering. It's like you just, I don't know why they don't allow you to order stuff, but they just don't. Everything's about what's in stock. It's a weird system. So I'll do this whole, I don't want to push my luck here, but I'm just going to do this flat area. So the entire hood flat and top of the fenders are done. Then I'll raise the car up and do the others, do the rest of it. Maybe we should come up with a series called Coat and Chat. Because coating, I mean, you can only really show you so much. There's no difference between doing this and the back of the car. So to show you an entire coating project is kind of pointless unless I can have something to talk about, which you know I normally do. Okay, so that's applied. I'll throw my towel on top of my bottle. I don't find the need to close up EXO. It doesn't dry particularly quickly, so you know, some coatings are so finicky that you know you don't want to leave it sitting in the bottle for too long, or air exposed to the bottle. This stuff, it's part of the reason why I like it so much. It's really easy to work with. But this, I could see, you know, if I were you, I wouldn't, especially if you're in a humid climate, I wouldn't want to be doing EXO in a non-climate controlled environment. This stuff would be quite a bit more difficult to remove, kind of smear around. So I would think if I were doing this in a humid area where I didn't have you know, complete control of my environment here, both humidity and temperature, like I do in HQ, I would probably I would just have a ton of towels. I would have probably a 3rd and 4th wipe towel. I would probably use different colors as well, so that way I could really keep track of which towel was which, and I would work much smaller areas as well. Because remember, the first step, the Crystal Serum Ultra, you'll find is super simple, really easy to do. But now we have, you know, we have a coated protected surface, so its natural tendency is to reject anything placed on top of it. Now EXO does bond pretty well, but it, you know, and it does wipe off really simply, really easily, but you do have to keep an eye on it. It's easy to smear and miss. And so that's why having, you know, in my case, I'm using a couple of towels, but like I just took the product from there and moved it over to here, which was previously clean. And so you just need to be aware of that. And if you're working in a more humid environment where you have external conditions that may affect how you're wiping, how you're removing, I think I'd have several other towels to be able to manage that. And my guess is, you know, I discard or I use these towels for something else. My guess is I don't think you'd have to worry about really throwing away towels. So we've used 4 or 5 towels that were maybe a little more expensive than these. I think if you just threw them in the wash right after you're done here, my wager is they'll be fine. I mean, you could feel it. If there was crystallization or buildup of product that began to crystallize, you'd be able to tell if that towel was ruined. Because what you're afraid of with a towel is the coating crystallizing, and then you have little shards of the resin that then scratch the surface in future use. You just don't want that to happen. Remember, I'm checking adjacent panels. I'm checking the area because, again, this is pretty thick. So I want to make sure I'm wiping it. Not wiping it from one spot to the next. So I want to make sure I get this clean and leveled. Especially on the darker surfaces. Okay, so let's raise it up. All right, let's keep on rolling here. Take my bottle. I also find that it's not a bad idea to take your bottle and keep it away from you so you don't have a tendency to visit it too much. You know, we don't need to lay on, I talked about this earlier with Crystal Serum Light, you don't need to lay on some massively thick layer. Another thing that really didn't occur to me is a lot of people were asking questions on Instagram, well, how come you're not using Crystal Serum Ultra? I said, well, this combo is great. It's a lot easier to work with. And, you know, even though I can get Ultra, it's like, it's not available. So, I mean, I could get a bottle or two here and there, but, you know, using it all the time, I don't think that Rob from, you know, I don't want to press my luck, if you will. You know, I'm not doing this on customers' cars. I've been through the accreditation, the accredited training, but I technically don't meet the criteria that they require. So unless it becomes, you know, readily available to all of us, you know, in or out of the professional realm, then, you know, I just use Crystal Serum Light. You know, I want Ultra to be available to all of us, but, you know, until that day, we'll just keep doing it the way we're doing it. Use the product that's available to me, without bending or breaking rules, if you will, just because I can. I always find the second coat is so hard for me to convince myself to do, you know, because it looks so good. So the second coat is going to be much more about the future, you know, further down the road than it is about today, because for the next year or so, the second coat really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying about that, if that makes sense. Because this is tedious. I mean, this is to do this whole car is a good couple of hour, maybe hour and a half deal, you know, to take your time and do it methodically. And, you know, for me, I'm moving the camera around and stuff. I'm having the guys, Tool Grid is available, so Tool Grid just showed up, and so I'm having the guys make sure to get that product up. We don't have anywhere to put it, so I really need to get it in the store, and I need to sell out some of the initial inventory because we have a whole, you know, 10 pallets of Mosmatic coming, so I need to get some of it sold. Some of you that have been waiting for it. So, the application of this stuff, as you can see, is not rocket science. I would say EXO, the harder part is the making sure that you've removed it all. And even that is still pretty basic. It's not the world's worst thing to go back over it a little bit and work it in. Make sure you have good even coverage. Keeping organized, which was my initial wipe towel and which was my secondary wipe towel. I didn't do the other fender. This stuff looks really great on your Especially black porous plastic trim looks so good. As you get further into the project, just telling you, stay focused. Even if you have to go take a break, stay focused, making sure you're doing adequate wiping. You don't want to mess this part up. It's very hard to mess it up if you're staying on top of it. So don't be scared about this. It's very easy to do. You just follow this process that I'm showing you here. I don't even know that I call it a process. Just put it on and wipe it off. But if you stay organized, which areas have you been, which areas have you not? Don't lose concentration, meaning don't get lazy on it, and stay with your 2 or 3 or 4 towel method all the way through from front to back. Don't get greedy and try to do too big of an area that you can't keep yourself organized. But this is truly a simple wipe on, wipe off, I think. I'm wiping it on. By the time I get done with whatever area I've got to, I'll just wipe it off. Ooh, so my friend Rusty has built a quick disconnect for me that we're going to offer to you. He's sending me his prototype for the MTM foam cannon. So what I wanted was a coupler that would, so you wouldn't have to be removing the bottle, you know, because the bottle has those really, it's plastic, so they're plastic threads. And so the issue is that when you're taking it on and off the bottle all the time, you know, especially if you don't take extra care, you're gonna strip the threads. And so what I wanted a permanent coupler, so you'd have a plug that's screwed into the foam cannon, the upper part of the foam cannon, and then you would have a receiver or coupler section, female section, that was threaded onto the bottle at all times, and you just snap them together. So he made something super cool that I think everybody's going to want, outside of the fact that part, you know, because we'll be doing it in volumes of like 1,000 or 2,000 at a time, you know, is going to cost quite a bit. I mean, it's probably going to have a retail of, you know, 70 or 80 or $100, depending on which material we make it out of. We're probably going to make the first iteration out of aluminum, just because aluminum is considerably less costly and wear and tear on the machine. And there isn't any stainless on that bottle anyway, so I think it's okay. But wait till you see this thing. It makes the old one looks really goofy. It creates this big gooseneck, because we have to add like 1.5 inches of bulk in order to be able to create the coupler, or have the coupler work. But on the new bottle, since it's shorter and squattier, it looks pretty cool. And again, this one is not so much about form as it is function. So, I mean, we're kind of limited in what can and can't be done, just and how it will have to function. But I think many of you are going to be pumped about this thing. I know I am. So we might have those produced in the next couple of months. I also got the skin wedge tool. By the time you're watching this, we have this skin wedge tool up. It's like $12 or something like that. So that's I use the little pry tool you see me using on the interior of cars all the time. I find myself using that tool more than any other tool. And so rather than just, you know, I've just found a distributor that stocks them, and I bought a large quantity of them so that I could resell them and make a little profit on them, make it, you know, worth the effort. But, you know, again, to me, I want to create an end-to-end solution. So that should be, you know, up by the time you're watching this. So it is really helpful to me if you buy it from here, honoring the source. Derek from Sound and Motion has been telling me I needed to get these in the store for a long time now. All right, let's keep moving. So now I'll just work all the way around the car. So tool grid is here. The skin wedge tool is here. The PF 22.2 will be here. And the Mosmatic new OG spec, OG version. So my first private, or I guess you could call it co-labeled product, will be here on Friday. So we'll fulfill all the pre-orders, and then hopefully many of you order that part. Will be update. Oh shit, I already did the top there. We'll be updating all of the products in the store, like Krenzla and AR and all the different packages we have. Will come with the new version, the new OG spec version. I'm going to retain the original version because there's a significant price point difference between the two. So I think the old one still has validity. I think a lot of people are going to opt for that still. Fewer than will opt for the new one, I would think. And we'll see if very, very few opt for the old version, the original version, then we'll transition to just carrying the OG spec version. But yeah, so we've got a lot of projects we're working on here, and I really just want to get this car up to speed. I wanted to get the detail done. I do much better when I'm not spinning a bunch of plates that are unfinished. I like to have things that are done, complete, and then I can move on to the next project clean. That's just the way I like to process things. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. So the other thing that I'll do with the towels is I'll just flip them around often and use new sides. I shouldn't have come up here. I'd already done that section, but that little spot got 3 coats, but that'll be okay. Just make sure that you don't leave any left behind. So yeah, my marathon training has begun yesterday. I ran a 2-mile. She's slowing me down a little bit, bringing my pace down to on the light runs. I mean, the concept is that your easy runs should truly be easy. And so she's managing it based on where my heart rate is at. So I'm still running with an average 150 beats per minute heart rate on a 2-mile run. So I got to get myself in that cardio shape to be able to improve the speed a little bit. But the target is to do, a 3:30, 3 hour and 30 minute ish marathon. I don't know if that's impractical, but she didn't tell me it wasn't, but I don't know. I think we're good. I think I'm gonna try it. But it really doesn't matter, as long as I don't walk. I just told her I'm not freaking walking. It doesn't count. If you do a marathon, you're walking, it takes you 6 hours, it doesn't count. Try again. Depth, and this is very, very wax-like, this coating. So good. This is why you've seen me do more and more of these and less power lock Colonite. Working through here. So you can do this on all the trim. I've already done the trim. I have a coat of EXO on there and CSL, so I don't feel the need to do any more. But if I do get a little bit of extra on there, it won't matter. So I'm hoping to get this completely done here, so that way we can do Bryce's suspension tomorrow. I'm headed to do the VinWiki garage on Saturday, so I'll be there for a week. All right, so I'm gonna work through, also put it on this. I'm gonna work through the rest of the car. We'll come back and wrap up this video with glass sealant. We'll knock that out while we're in process here. I don't know why I always lump the mirrors in with the roof. Just makes sense to me. I also do the glass on this as well. All right, hopefully it's not tomorrow I'm talking to you. Hopefully it's in an hour or so. Okay, last step. Yeah, this is it. All I gotta do is put Pearl in the tires and take care of the windows. but I want to prep them for coating. I guess it's not really a coating, it's a sealant. And it's kind of fun, I don't have to do the windshield. Make it a little less daunting of a task, even though this isn't too difficult. But I want to make sure I clean these up. So I'm using the more aggressive panel wipe here, getting the glass prepared so that I'll get a good bond. This is where you make a big mistake, I think, is if you don't prepare your glass, then you're not going to get a very good result. So if I don't clean it really well, I'm not going to get a good long-lasting bond with my sealant. And so what we're doing is Wolf's Nano Glass Sealant. Should be here any day now. I mean, we're maybe a week or two out. I decided I was playing with H2Go from Angel Wax to see if I like that better. I still prefer Wolf's. I prefer how it functions, how it feels, how it looks, and how long it lasts. And the thing I like about Wolf's more than anything is it doesn't fail. You know, it slowly degrades, but it won't just fail and stop working. So it kind of gives you like an indicator that it's time to change and time to replace. So part of the prep work I did prior was to polish the glass. So I polished it with, not a glass polish, so I didn't use Siri glass on it. I just polished it with the ACA 500 from HD polishes, or sorry, 3D polishes, and a microfiber cutting pad. I'm also not going to do the side view mirrors. The side view mirrors I did with, I treated those earlier with Crystal Serum Light and EXO. So I'm going to take a new suede applicator, a little bit of sealant, and we're going to apply. So first thing I'll do, I'll hit the bottom here. Oops. And we'll open this up. And just put this on in circles. So I like this product because of I mentioned that it doesn't just fail, kind of slowly degrades over time. And the way I take care of my windows, I find that I don't have to apply this, but maybe once every 9 months or a year. It also depends on how much you use your wipers. You know, if you're a habitual wiper and dry wiper user, this isn't going to do very well for you. I find the Raptor, this doesn't last very long with Michelle. But if you manage your wipers really well, like I do, you only use them when you need to, then this will do great for you. This also isn't like a again, water's not going to shoot off of this. The water behavior on this is not going to change your life. It's not going to you're not going to be wowed by how water reacts to this stuff. But it just does great. It does just a really good job. And we'll do the rear the same. Yeah, it feels so much less daunting when you only have to do, I guess this would be 3 sides. The windshield always takes longer. But I'm going to do 2 coats to both, to all of them. So we're going to do a coat. We're going to let it set up. By the time I get done with the other side, I'll be about ready to wipe it off. And then we'll add a second coat. And then this'll take care of the windows for as long as I have this car. Gosh, oh shoot. Man, we're almost there, people. We've almost got it. Too bad the car still doesn't steer. I can't steer the car. Well, now I don't have any wiper blades on it, so more excuse for me to just detail and not drive it. That makes some of you nutty. Driving's not my thing. This is my thing. Driving it is a privilege that I get after I do all this work. That's the way I look at it. Okay, I'm gonna do the passenger side. I'll show you how to wipe it off. All right, and then we just take a towel. I usually do 2 towels, one for each hand, one mainly so I don't lean on the paint. And I'll wipe it off. I'm gonna go grab some invisible glass. And by go grab some, I mean grab one right off the shelf right here. And I'll just kind of spritz it a little bit, just kind of wet it. And I find that this doesn't really degrade. It just helps make it come off way easier. So all I really have to do now is put the interior parts in, clean the seats. And we got ourselves a detailed Corvette. So you want to use a little bit of pressure to get this cleaned up. Uh-oh, what's that? Is that the UPS truck? I always find the second coat goes on super slick and smooth too. All right, so I'm gonna put a second coat on and we'll come back and wrap up our coating video. All right, so that's a wrap. I always get much tighter angles when I'm videoing myself, but I probably used, I don't know, about 12 different gloves because I take them off at times. But I ended up using 6 green towels. I did about not quite half a bottle because I had a little bit left of a previous bottle. So I used a little bit less than half a bottle of Crystal Serum Light. And I used about, I would say, about 3/4 of a bottle of EXO, you know, on the whole car. Now remember, I had done the wheels earlier, and but doing all the different various trim and all of that stuff did earlier. And then Wolf's, I mean, you need very little for your windows. So this 150 milliliter bottle will last you quite a long time. I mean, mine is down to here. I don't know how old this bottle is, but it's an old bottle. It's been around a long time. And I found that the product doesn't really have a shelf life. And I've had it in a garage where it's heated up and cooled down a bit. So I use a little bit of panel wipe and possibly eraser to clean up the windows. And obviously we use these products, used eraser and panel wipe to prepare the car. And then I used a couple of glass towels. These waffle leaf glass towels are so good. So anyway, that's the coating step, coating products we used. Hope you enjoyed this video. I guess what we'll probably do is we'll do a final wrap up. We'll get the car outside, do some gimbal walkarounds, show you what it looks like, maybe drive up and down the street, just kind of show you it moving. And that might be a couple of days from now. Oh, I'll have an interior cleanup video for you next. So that'll probably be before we wrap up the series. But anyway, thanks for sticking along on the ride on this car. Man, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I'm dare I say, I'm starting to like this a little bit more. So anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. Catch you on the next episode of this, and obviously more videos to come. Thanks.